So, boys and girls, today we're talking about spring. So, you might be wondering why you are going to be making a beach bag today and that we're talking about shells. What is the truth about this is that in spring, there's a cool phenomenon that's called spring tide. It's where, because of the pull of the moon and the sun from the earth, it actually pulls the water further out into the ocean. Here's someone taking a video, and you'll see that it says spring low. That's because it's the spring tide. And the reason this man was taking video of it is because he was saying, look how far out the water is. Now, this was spring high tide for him, but he said still, this water is really, really far out. Now, you might be thinking, well, what difference does that make? Well, as far as being able to collect shells, in other seasons, the tide is so far up the beach that you can't possibly get shells. Whereas when it's a low tide, it reveals all those different shells and you can pick them up. So today you are going to be making a beach bag, or however you want to use it, with a wave on there. Today, you're going to have different color paint. You're going to have white, turquoise, and then you're going to have what people call teal. It's kind of a bluish green color. You're going to have a very dark blue, and then you're also going to have a metallic silver. On your table, after you watch this video, there's going to be step by step, and you'll see that next to the picture, it shows you what color paint to use. So it shouldn't be very confusing. You're just going to be following the steps. So when you start today, you're going to have your bag. You have some paper covering up the handles so that you don't get any paint on it. Either your counselors will have already done this for you, or you are just going to sketch on a wave shape. Then we're going to get you a brush and you're going to start to fill out the color. The first color you're going to be using is the white. And when you use it, it could be that you're going to have to go over it a couple of times. The fabric that is being used in this bag kind of wants to soak up that paint. Now notice that when I am using the brush, I am kind of going in the direction of how the wave would be. Now, I was kind of talking when I went into the turquoise. So you can see that I'm kind of going back and forth between the turquoise. Notice that I'm not rinsing out my brush. I just keep picking up more paint. And again, I'm making my paintbrush go in the direction of how a wave would curl. So I take a little turquoise, then maybe I pick up a little bit of white. I'm just making sure to stay within that wave shape. I don't want for you to go outside of this wave shape today because we want it to be that sky background just stays a solid color. Now here I just went into the teal. I'm not covering up every single part of it. I'm just kind of doing a little bit of kind of like highlights, because if you've ever seen surfers and pictures on waves, you'll see that there's a whole bunch of different colors going on within that wave. I just picked up some dark blue and I'm just kind of doing almost like dotted lines. I'm super fast in this video, but you're going to be just kind of putting on some lines on there a little bit, kind of like all those colors are getting mixed up. Once I'm finished with that, then you can move on to another color, and in this case, it's going to be the silver. Do you see how I'm giving it just some highlights? Kind of like the wave is getting caught up in the sun, and it's just looking so fabulous as it's rolling around. I decided to pick up a little bit of white again, and you can also go back and pick up some different colors until your wave looks the way you want to. But once again, notice that I'm not getting any paint outside of my wave. I'm trying to stay within that space. Now, this is where things are going to get interesting. You're going to be taking a brush, and this is where you're going to go dabba, 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 dabba with the white. Because on a wave, a lot of times you'll see that there's all this foam that comes off of it. And that's just because the water is getting tossed around. So I'm putting foam on the top, almost like bubbles, like a bubble bath on top of the head of your wave. Once you have that, you can also use the back of your brush to make smaller ones. And now I'm going where the water's coming from, kind of lower down there. At the very end, you may take your brush and splatter. Be very careful not to get any of your friends full of paint. And you may splatter on there because that's what happens with the wave as well. Then your counselors are going to take them from you and you can carry on. Now, not everyone is going to have a blue bag. Yours might be white or kind of off-white or pink. I'm just doing this one for you so that you can see that no matter what color bag you get, it's gonna look really awesome. So I can't wait to see what you guys are gonna do. Have fun.